The set of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta turned into pure chaos, leaving everyone speechless. Cameras were rolling when Momma Dee and Sierra's friendly exchange took a dark turn. A shouting match so heated that even the producers didn't know what to do. Witnesses say Scrappy's reaction was something nobody expected, and Rasheeda's stunned expression said it all. Reports are flying everywhere, and social media is on fire. Some fans are calling it one of the wildest moments in the show's history, while others believe it might have crossed the line completely. What started as a small misunderstanding spiraled into an emotional explosion that pulled everyone in. Friends, family, and castmates caught in the middle of something way bigger than anyone imagined. Insiders claim tempers flared, harsh words were exchanged, and feelings that had been hidden for years finally came spilling out. As Scrappy's patience snapped, the entire room froze, unsure of what would happen next. People close to the production say this isn't just another reality show argument. This was personal, raw, and messy. And fans everywhere can't stop asking the same question. How did it all go so wrong so fast? It all began on what was supposed to be an ordinary filming day, a light scene where the cast was meant to share a few laughs and talk about family. The crew had been in good spirits. Everyone relaxed after a long week of shooting. But as soon as Momma Dee walked in, the entire atmosphere shifted. There was a strange tension in the air, one that nobody could quite put their finger on. She greeted people politely at first, but her tone carried a hint of something, a quiet edge, like she was already on guard. Rasheeda noticed it almost instantly, exchanging a glance with Kirk, who simply raised an eyebrow as if to say, "Here we go again?" Momma Dee's relationship with Sierra had always been complicated. On camera, they had moments of unity, but off camera, the history was layered with pride, assumptions, and unresolved issues. That day, when Sierra walked in all smiles, dressed sharp and confident as ever, you could feel that spark of competition flicker between them. The producers hadn't planned for confrontation. They wanted lighthearted gossip, maybe a playful back and forth about relationships. But when emotions are this close to the surface, it doesn't take much to set off fireworks. It started with something small. Sierra joked about how everyone in Atlanta had opinions about her love life, and Momma Dee chuckled, saying maybe she should take some notes from the women who actually keep their men. The laughter that followed was half genuine, half nervous. Sierra smiled tightly, her eyes narrowing just a bit. "Oh, you mean women like Rasheeda?" she shot back. "Because we all saw how that story went." The set went silent. Rasheeda froze, her expression unreadable, while Kirk looked like he wanted to disappear. Momma Dee's laugh died in her throat. She leaned forward, resting her elbows on the table, her gaze locked on Sierra. "Baby, don't get cute," she said, her voice calm but sharp enough to slice through the air. "You've been around long, enough to know what happens when folks start throwing shade in my direction." From there, it only escalated. Sierra wasn't backing down. She felt like she'd been holding her tongue for too long. "You always got something to say about everybody else's business," she said, her voice rising. "Maybe if you focused on your own family, things wouldn't be such a mess all the time." Gasps rippled across the set. The background crew stopped moving, unsure whether to step in or keep filming. Rasheeda finally tried to defuse the situation, raising her hand slightly. "Y'all, please, not today. We don't need this kind of energy." But her voice was drowned out by Momma Dee slamming her hand on the table. "Energy?" she snapped. "The only energy I'm feeling is the disrespect coming from this girl right here." Sierra stood, pushing her chair back hard enough to make it screech against the floor. "Girl, I'm not your child," she said. "And you don't scare me." It was clear then that this was no longer playful banter. Momma Dee's face hardened, and you could see the years of built-up resentment between these two women unfold in real time. The cameras kept rolling as Rasheeda looked helplessly toward the producers. Kirk whispered something to her, probably urging her to stay calm, but she couldn't hide the worry on her face. The whole cast could feel that things were about to spiral beyond anyone's control. Scrappy, who had been standing near the back of the room, watching quietly, finally stepped forward. "Ma, come on," he said gently. "You don't gotta do this right now." His voice carried a mix of frustration and pleading. Everyone could tell he'd been in this position before, trying to calm his mother down while balancing his loyalty to his castmates. But Momma Dee wasn't having it. "No, son," she said firmly. "These people think they can just talk to me any kind of way, and I'm supposed to sit here and smile? Not today." The tension was so thick it was almost unbearable. Even Sierra seemed taken aback for a moment, her confidence faltering under the weight of Momma Dee's intensity. But instead of backing off, she crossed her arms and said, "You're proving my point right now. Look at you, always making a scene, always dragging everybody into your drama." Rasheeda, who had been trying to play peacemaker, felt herself getting pulled into it despite her best intentions. "Both of y'all need to chill," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "We're supposed to be building each other up, not tearing each other apart." But by then, neither of them was listening. Suddenly, one of the producers stepped in, trying to calm everyone down. But Momma Dee turned toward him with a glare so fierce he froze mid-sentence. "Don't tell me to calm down," she said. "You're the one who brought us here to talk about real issues." "Well, this is as real as it gets." The shouting grew louder, overlapping voices filling the room. Momma Dee defending herself, Sierra firing back with biting remarks, and Rasheeda desperately trying to keep things from collapsing completely. The rest of the cast sat in stunned silence, not wanting to interfere but unable to look away. It felt like watching a car crash in slow motion, and no one knew how to stop it. Finally, Scrappy stepped closer to his mom, placing a hand on her arm. "Please," he said softly, "let's just go outside for a minute." But Momma Dee jerked her arm away, her pride not letting her back down in front of everyone. "No, because she needs to learn respect," she snapped, pointing at Sierra. "You think you can talk about my family and get away with it?" Sierra rolled her eyes, but her voice shook slightly when she responded. "I didn't say nothing that wasn't true." That line hit harder than anyone expected. You could see Scrappy's jaw tighten, his eyes flashing with anger but not at Sierra, at the entire situation. He knew that if this continued, it would explode into something irreversible. Rasheeda caught his look and gave a small nod, silently pleading for him to step in before it was too late. As the argument raged, someone from the crew whispered that they might need to cut the scene completely, but another producer shook his head, mouthing, "Keep rolling." And that's exactly what they did. The cameras stayed locked in as years of hidden resentment, unspoken truths, and raw emotion came pouring out for the world to see. The atmosphere was electric, a mixture of shock, disbelief, and morbid curiosity. People who had worked together for years were now facing the kind of emotional storm that could change everything. And as voices cracked and tempers flared, it became clear that nothing about this confrontation was just for show. This wasn't scripted. This was real, messy emotion, the kind that leaves scars long after the cameras stop rolling. The room fell silent for a few seconds after Scrappy's outburst, but that silence didn't last long. Momma Dee slammed her hand on the table, her nails clicking against the glass as she glared at Sierra. Her voice, sharp and trembling with anger, cut through the air like a knife. She said she was done being disrespected, done watching younger women think they could step over her name like she was nothing. Sierra leaned forward, refusing to back down, saying she never meant disrespect. But she wouldn't let anyone, not even Scrappy's mother, humiliate her on camera. Everyone could feel that this was no longer just reality TV drama. It was raw, personal, and dangerously close to crossing a line that couldn't be undone. Rasheeda tried to calm them both down, stepping between them, her tone soft but firm. She told them it wasn't worth it, that the cameras were still rolling and anything they said could go viral in minutes. But Momma Dee wasn't listening. She turned toward Scrappy and demanded he pick a side. It was one of those moments where the air itself feels too heavy, like the entire world was waiting for someone to move first. Scrappy froze, his jaw tight, eyes darting between his mother and Sierra. He wanted peace, but deep down, he knew no one in that room was interested in peace anymore. As the crew members started whispering, one of the producers tried signaling to cut the scene, but the chaos had already spiraled out of control. Momma Dee stood up, her voice shaking but still powerful, telling Sierra she was tired of fake loyalty and fake smiles. Sierra's face turned cold, and she fired back that Momma Dee had been stirring things behind everyone's backs for years, calling herself the queen while destroying her own son's relationships. That line hit hard. Scrappy's eyes widened and Rasheeda gasped quietly, knowing exactly how deep that wound ran. Scrappy finally spoke, his voice breaking slightly as he said he didn't want to do this on camera. But Momma Dee wasn't done. She shouted that she'd raised him alone, fought for him, and now he was defending the same people who were mocking her. It wasn't just anger anymore. It was pain spilling out, years of resentment and loneliness mixed with pride. Her mascara started to smear as tears rolled down, but she refused to wipe them away. Everyone just stood there, frozen, watching a mother's heartbreak unfold under studio lights. Outside the set, word started to spread. Fans who were nearby began posting short clips online. Within minutes, social media caught fire. Hashtags like "Oh Momma Dee, Sierra" and "Scrappy Snaps" started trending. People didn't even know the full story yet, but that didn't matter. The internet was already choosing sides. Some said Momma Dee had every right to defend her name. Others claimed she'd gone too far. Rasheeda's comment section filled with questions, and her phone kept buzzing, but she ignored it, knowing the worst thing she could do now was post anything that might fuel the fire. Back on set, the tension was unbearable. Spice, who had been quiet all this time, finally stepped in. She raised her hands and said this wasn't the place for that kind of energy, that they were supposed to be professionals, not enemies. But her words barely registered. Momma Dee walked past her, still shaking, and muttered that she'd had enough of fake friends pretending to care only when the cameras were on. She stormed out, pushing the doors open so hard they slammed against the walls. Scrappy followed her, but before he left, he turned to Sierra and said something that made everyone's heart sink. "You could have just walked away." Those words stayed hanging in the air long after they left. Sierra sat down slowly, breathing heavily, eyes wet but unblinking. Rasheeda put her hand on her shoulder, whispering that it would be okay. But deep down, she wasn't sure, because this wasn't just about one argument anymore. This was about years of tension, unspoken rivalry, and old wounds being reopened for everyone to see. The production crew shut down filming early that day. Everyone scattered. Some went outside to smoke, others just sat in silence. Spice went live on her phone for a few seconds, saying she was tired of the constant drama, but she quickly deleted it. Still, a few people had already screen recorded it, and by the evening, that clip was all over the blogs. "Spice breaks silence after fight," one headline said. Rasheeda caught in middle of chaos. Another read, "As night fell, the cast group chat exploded." Messages were flying in, some defending Momma Dee, others telling her to calm down. One message from Scrappy simply said, "She's hurt." And for a moment, everyone stopped typing. Because deep down, even those who didn't get along with her knew it was true. Momma Dee wasn't angry for fame. She was angry because she felt forgotten, replaced by a new generation who didn't see what she sacrificed. The next morning, paparazzi were already waiting outside the hotel where the cast was staying. Momma Dee walked out in sunglasses, ignoring their questions. Sierra hadn't come out of her room yet. Rasheeda, exhausted and frustrated, tried to manage the situation quietly. But it was too late. Blogs were already twisting the story. Some said Momma Dee slapped Sierra, which wasn't true. Others claimed Scrappy pushed a producer, which no one could confirm. Scrappy finally broke his silence with a short post on his story. He didn't name anyone, but he wrote, "Loyalty ain't about choosing sides, it's about knowing who's real when things get ugly." That post was enough to ignite another storm. Fans began dissecting every word, wondering if he was defending his mother or shading Sierra. In the comments, some begged him to forgive his mom. Others told him to protect his peace and move on. Meanwhile, Rasheeda had her own crisis brewing. Kirk had seen the clips online and was furious that the drama was overshadowing their business projects. He told her she needed to distance herself from the mess, but she couldn't. She'd been friends with both sides for years. She couldn't just pretend none of it mattered. Later that day, she called Scrappy to check on him. He didn't say much, just that his mom wasn't talking to anyone and he didn't know how to fix it. Rasheeda told him that maybe the cameras caught more truth than any of them expected. By the evening, Sierra finally broke her silence too. She went live, sitting in her living room, her voice soft but steady. She said she respected her elders but wouldn't let anyone disrespect her character. She claimed the fight started because of a misunderstanding, that she'd made a comment about family loyalty, not realizing how Momma Dee would take it. The chat section exploded with mixed reactions. Some people flooded the comments with hearts. Others accused her of lying. One viewer wrote, "You knew exactly what you were saying." Another commented, "Y'all need therapy, not another season. That live video only made things worse." Clips spread across Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. The hashtag #DalwarFamily Feudaddle started trending, and fans began taking sides like it was a championship game. People even started editing scenes from old seasons to show proof that this tension had been building for years. Momma Dee's old interviews were resurfacing where she talked about trust and betrayal, and those clips were suddenly everywhere again. Behind the scenes, producers were secretly thrilled. They knew drama like this could spike ratings overnight. One insider leaked to a blog that this might become the biggest storyline of the season, and that leak was all it took. By the next morning, every entertainment outlet was covering it. Love and hip-hop meltdown caught on camera. Scrappy breaks down after on-set fight, and Rasheeda caught in the middle. Headlines flooded timelines. Scrappy was done, though. He turned off his phone, drove out of town for a few days, and refused to talk to anyone except his cousin. For once, he didn't care about filming or contracts. He just wanted peace. But even that was impossible when your name was trending everywhere. The tension in Atlanta felt like a storm brewing. Quiet, but charged. Everyone knew it wasn't over. There were too many open wounds, too many words left unsaid. Momma Dee still hadn't spoken publicly, and that silence was louder than anything she could have posted. Fans were waiting, counting the hours, wondering if she'd clap back, apologize, or drop a bombshell that would change everything again. The silence from Momma Dee stretched longer than anyone expected. Days passed, and she didn't post a single word. No cryptic quotes, no shade-filled captions, nothing. That was strange for her. Fans began to worry. Others speculated she was planning something explosive. People started digging into her recent whereabouts, guessing she was waiting for the perfect moment to speak. And when she finally did, it shook everyone. One evening, just as the internet was starting to move on to other celebrity drama, Momma Dee went live. She was sitting in her living room, dim lights behind her, wearing a silk robe and a serious expression. Her tone was calm, too calm, the kind of calm that usually comes before a storm. She began by saying she wasn't here to bash anyone but wanted to clear her name. Her words came slow, deliberate, as if she had rehearsed them. She said she loved her son, but was tired of people using him as a shield to hide their own disrespect. She mentioned fake love and hidden agendas, never naming names but making it obvious who she was referring to. When she said, "Some people smile in your face while waiting for the camera to roll before they stab you," the comment section exploded. Fans flooded it with fire emojis and shocked faces, tagging Sierra, tagging Scrappy, even tagging Rasheeda. Sierra went live less than an hour later, visibly angry, saying she was done trying to play the victim. She said Momma Dee had twisted the story, that she had been respectful until she was provoked. Her voice shook as she said, "You can't bully people forever and expect them to bow down." Within minutes, both lives were being stitched, remixed, and reposted across social media. Everyone was taking sides again. Scrappy didn't say anything at first, but later that night, he posted a single black screen with the caption, "Family shouldn't make you choose between love and loyalty." That line broke the internet. Fans flooded in with thousands of comments, trying to interpret what he meant. Some said he was finally standing up for himself. Others said he was throwing shade at both sides. Even Rasheeda posted a subtle message the next day, writing, "Sometimes peace means distance." And that only fueled more speculation. The production team knew this was gold. They called an emergency meeting with the cast, trying to convince everyone to film a sit-down to clear the air. Momma Dee refused. Sierra agreed, but only if she could speak her truth without interruptions. Rasheeda, caught in the middle again, agreed to mediate. Scrappy didn't confirm, but producers were sure he'd show up. The plan was to film a private meeting at a neutral spot, a quiet restaurant closed to the public for the day. When the day arrived, everyone could feel the tension even before the cameras started rolling. Rasheeda sat at the center, looking exhausted but determined. Momma Dee arrived first, elegant but guarded, her face calm yet unreadable. Sierra came a few minutes later, her posture straight, her expression tight. The silence between them was heavy enough to break glass. The producers signaled to start, and Rasheeda began softly, saying this wasn't about the show anymore. It was about family, respect, and healing. She looked at Momma Dee and asked if she wanted to say anything. Momma Dee took a deep breath, folded her hands, and said she never wanted things to get this bad. She said she only reacted because she felt disrespected as a mother and as a woman who'd fought her whole life to be respected. Sierra's eyes glistened, but she didn't interrupt. When Rasheeda turned to her, she said she understood where Momma Dee was coming from, but that respect goes both ways. She said she'd never meant to offend her, but being yelled at in front of the whole set felt humiliating. For a brief moment, it felt like there was a chance for peace, but that changed the moment Momma Dee brought up loyalty again. She said, "Loyalty isn't silence, baby, it's standing for what's right, even when it's your mama." That line hit Scrappy, who had just walked in. Everyone turned to look at him. He didn't say anything for a long time, just stood there with his hands in his pockets, eyes low. When he finally spoke, his voice was calm but full of exhaustion. He said he loved both of them, but was tired of being the middleman in their war. He looked at Momma Dee and said, "You taught me to be strong, but sometimes strength means walking away." Then he turned to Sierra and said, "You say you want peace, but you keep posting things that make it worse." The tension was unbearable. Everyone's eyes darted back and forth between the two women, waiting for one of them to respond. Momma Dee's lips trembled slightly as she said she only posted because she felt silenced. Sierra shot back that silence wasn't the problem. Manipulation was. That word changed everything. Momma Dee's eyes widened, and she stood up again, saying she'd had enough of being painted as the villain. She accused Sierra of using her name for attention, claiming every time her name trended, Sierra's followers went up. The producers tried to cut the scene, but Scrappy raised his hand and said no. He wanted them to keep filming. He said the world needed to see the truth, even if it made everyone uncomfortable. That statement sent chills through the room. Momma Dee sat back down, tears in her eyes now, and whispered that she just wanted her son back. The room went quiet. Sierra's eyes softened for a moment, but before she could respond, Momma Dee said something that stunned everyone. "You took my son from me, and you don't even see it." Rasheeda's hand flew to her mouth. Spice, who had been sitting quietly in the corner as a neutral observer, whispered, "Lord, this is too much." Scrappy looked down, not saying a word, just breathing heavily. The cameras zoomed in on him as the weight of everything finally broke through. He said, almost in a whisper, that he felt like no matter what he did, someone always got hurt. Momma Dee reached out, trying to hold his hand, but he gently pulled away. She looked heartbroken but didn't fight it. Sierra wiped a tear from her face and said she never wanted to come between them. She said maybe they all needed space to figure things out. Rasheeda nodded, saying sometimes space is the only way to heal. For the first time that day, there was no shouting, no shade, no interruptions. Just a quiet, painful honesty that everyone in the room could feel. After filming ended, Momma Dee left without saying goodbye. Sierra stayed behind, talking quietly with Rasheeda. Scrappy disappeared outside, standing by his car, staring at the city lights in silence. He knew the cameras were still watching, but for once, he didn't care. He lit a cigarette, exhaled slowly, and whispered something days passed quietly after that video. The chaos had finally slowed, like a storm running out of rain. For the first time in weeks, the internet wasn't flooded with arguments or shade posts. Instead, people were sharing old clips of Momma Dee laughing, smiling, being her iconic self. It felt like everyone had taken a collective breath, realizing how far things had gone. Even the cast seemed lighter. On set, there was a new kind of silence. Not awkward, just tired. Like everyone was emotionally spent and ready to rebuild what was broken. Rasheeda called a small gathering at her boutique, hoping to bring everyone together without cameras. She wanted it to be a private talk. No production, no drama, just honesty. Sierra hesitated at first, but eventually agreed, saying she was ready to move forward. Scrappy showed up quietly, his eyes heavy but hopeful. And then Momma Dee walked in, wearing a simple black dress, her head held high but her energy softer than usual. The moment she entered, everyone fell silent. It wasn't out of fear, it was respect. She looked around the room, taking in every face that had been part of the chaos, and said softly, "I came here to make peace, not war." Her voice was steady, but there was pain behind it. Sierra nodded and stepped forward, saying she never meant to disrespect her, that things just spiraled out of control. She admitted that she reacted out of anger and pride, not understanding how much history and emotion were tied to every word. Momma Dee listened quietly, her eyes glistening a little. Then she said something that surprised everyone. She said she wasn't angry anymore, just disappointed that love had turned into a storyline. She said families fight, but they don't destroy each other for views. Those words hit deep. The room went quiet again, and for a few seconds, no one moved. Then Scrappy, standing in the corner, took a deep breath and walked over to hug his mother. It wasn't a dramatic TV hug. It was slow, heavy, real. Tears started rolling down Momma Dee's face as she whispered, "I just want my baby to be happy." Scrappy nodded, holding her tighter. Sierra wiped her eyes quietly, realizing how much hurt had built up between all of them. Rasheeda watched the moment unfold, her face calm but emotional. She said softly, "Maybe this was supposed to happen, so we could see what really matters." For a few minutes, it felt like the tension finally melted away. No cameras, no producers, no scripts. Just real people remembering why they started this journey together in the first place. But as much as that moment healed wounds, it also reminded everyone of how fragile their peace was. One wrong comment, one wrong headline, and it could all crumble again. A few days later, the producers reached out, asking if they could film a reunion segment to capture this closure. At first, everyone refused. They didn't want to turn that real healing into another spectacle, but after some discussions, they agreed, only if it was done respectfully. The reunion was set up in a simple studio with warm lighting and minimal editing, more like a conversation than a scene. When filming began, Momma Dee spoke with honesty and grace. She said she had learned that being strong didn't mean being loud, that sometimes silence said more than shouting ever could. She admitted that she'd made mistakes too, that she let pride guide her reactions instead of peace. Her words were raw, not rehearsed, and they hit home for many watching. Sierra, on her turn, said she realized how her words had power, how something said in anger could turn into a wound that takes months to heal. She said she didn't want to be known for drama anymore, but for growth. Rasheeda nodded, adding that sometimes reality TV blurred the line between entertainment and real life, and that they all had to find their way back to themselves. Scrappy, sitting between his mother and Sierra, looked exhausted but relieved. He said he wanted this to be the last time he saw the women he loved hurting because of him. He admitted he'd been struggling silently, trying to protect both sides but losing his peace in the process. His voice cracked when he said, "I just want to see everybody win. I want to see my mom smile again." That sentence changed the entire tone of the room. Momma Dee reached for his hand, and for a brief moment, even Sierra smiled through her tears. The host asked them if they thought things could ever go back to normal. Momma Dee chuckled softly and said, "Normal doesn't exist anymore, but love still does. That sentence changed the entire tone of the room. Momma Dee reached for his hand, and for a brief moment, even Sierra smiled through her tears. The host asked them if they thought things could ever go back to normal. Momma Dee chuckled softly and said, Normal doesn't exist anymore, but love still does. When that episode aired, fans couldn't believe how emotional it was. The comment sections were flooded with love and support. People said it felt real, not staged, not fake, but like a family genuinely trying to heal. Clips from the reunion went viral, especially the moment when Scrappy held his mother's hand. Even celebrities reposted it, calling it one of the most powerful reality TV moments in years. But behind the scenes, there was still some hesitation. The producers wanted to capitalize on the emotional buzz. They started planning new storylines around healing and forgiveness, hoping to turn this real piece into another season arc. Rasheeda pushed back, saying that they needed to give everyone space. She told them this wasn't just TV. These were real people, with real pain. Momma Dee, meanwhile, quietly stepped back from the spotlight. She started posting more uplifting content on her social media, motivational quotes, old photos, and funny throwbacks instead of shade. Fans noticed the shift immediately. Her comments were filled with people saying they were proud of her, calling her growth goals. Even Sierra liked a few of her posts, a silent sign that maybe things were finally, truly changing. Weeks turned into months, and the story slowly faded from the headlines. Other scandals took over, other dramas replaced it. But for those who had followed every twist and turn, this one stuck differently. It wasn't just entertainment anymore. It was a reminder that even the loudest voices have soft hearts behind them. Then one evening, at an event celebrating the show's anniversary, the cast reunited on stage. It wasn't planned for them to address the past, but when Momma Dee took the mic, she couldn't help herself. She looked at the crowd, then at her castmates and said, "We've all said things we regret, but we're still standing. That's what matters." The audience cheered, and even Sierra stood to clap. It was a full-circle moment, the kind that reality TV rarely gets. Afterward, Rasheeda posted a photo of everyone together with the caption, "From chaos to closure." It went viral overnight. Fans said it was the perfect ending to a roller coaster chapter. For once, the comments weren't filled with insults or theories, just gratitude that peace had won in the end. Still, even with the calm restored, everyone knew one truth. In this world, peace was temporary. But growth? Growth was permanent. And for Momma Dee, Scrappy, Sierra, and the rest, growth had finally become the new drama. Quieter, but far more powerful. As the cameras dimmed and the season wrapped, Momma Dee stood backstage, looking out at the set where it all began. She smiled softly and whispered to herself, "I made it through." There was no audience applause, no dramatic music, just the sound of someone finally finding peace after the storm. And maybe, in a strange way, that was the most dramatic ending of all. And just like that, Atlanta's firestorm has reached a breaking point. Momma Dee's explosion, Rasheeda's tears, Kirk's anger, and Sierra's silence have left everyone speechless. The family that once stood together is now standing on a line so thin that one wrong move could destroy it all. Everyone's loyalty is being tested, and every truth that was hidden is now crawling out into the open. But what happens next? Will Momma Dee calm down and finally face her own reflection? Or will she drag everyone into her storm? Will Kirk step up and fix what he broke? Or will his pride cost him everything again? And can Rasheeda survive another betrayal in front of millions? This isn't just another love and hip-hop moment. This is a war for respect, for family, and for survival. And trust me, it's far from over. Because in Atlanta, peace never lasts long and drama never sleeps. If you're still here watching this chaos unfold, then you already know. This story's not done yet. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and tell me whose side you're on. Team Rasheeda, Team Sierra, or Team Momma Dee? Because the next episode might just change everything.